Welcome, fellow seekers of inspiration, to a journey through a pivotal chapter in the ongoing story of human progress. Today, we turn our gaze towards a powerful testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. A decades-long struggle waged with unwavering determination and a profound belief in fundamental fairness. The women's suffrage movement. This was not a battle fought on bloodied fields, but in parlors and public squares, through eloquent words and persistent action. It is the story of countless individuals who dared to challenge the deeply entrenched norms of their time, who faced ridicule and resistance with unyielding resolve. All for the simple yet revolutionary idea that every voice deserves to be heard in the shaping of society. Imagine a world where an entire half of the population is systematically denied a fundamental right. The right to participate in the very governance that shapes their lives. Picture intelligent, capable individuals being told that their opinions on matters of state hold no weight simply because of their gender. This was the reality for women in many parts of the world throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries. Yet, from this landscape of disenfranchisement arose a movement, a groundswell of conviction fueled by an unbreakable will for equality. Over the next segments, we will delve into the heart of this transformative era. We will explore the daily indignities and quiet acts of defiance that characterize the lives of women yearning for a voice. We will follow the remarkable journey of a singular leader whose dedication became synonymous with the cause. We will examine the ingenious strategies and intellectual breakthroughs employed to shift deeply ingrained societal beliefs. And finally, we will reflect on the enduring legacy of this hard-won victory. A legacy that continues to echo in the ongoing pursuit of justice and equal rights for all. Prepare to be inspired by the courage, the resilience, and the profound power of an unyielding voice demanding to be heard. Imagine yourself living in the 19th century. The world around you is rapidly changing. Industrialization is reshaping economies, new technologies are connecting distant lands, and democratic ideals are taking root in many nations. Yet, for women in most of these societies, a fundamental aspect of citizenship remains out of reach: the right to vote. Reflect for a moment on the implications of this denial. It wasn't merely about marking a ballot on election day. It permeated every facet of a woman's existence, shaping her opportunities, her legal standing, and her place in the broader community. Consider the daily indignities, the subtle yet persistent limitations that defined the lives of women without political representation. In many places, they could not own property independently after marriage. Their earnings were legally their husbands', access to higher education was limited, and professional careers were largely closed off. Laws affecting their lives, their families, and their communities were made by men alone, without their direct input or consent. Imagine the frustration of intelligent, formed women being relegated to the domestic sphere. Their opinions on vital societal issues deemed irrelevant in the halls of power. Yet, amidst these constraints, a spirit of resilience began to stir. Women found ways to exercise agency within the limited spaces afforded to them. They formed reading circles, not just for leisure, but as forums for discussing the burgeoning ideas of equality and justice. They penned essays and articles, often published anonymously or under male pseudonyms, carefully planting the seeds of change in the minds of their contemporaries. In the intimacy of parlors and social gatherings, they engaged in quiet yet powerful conversations, building networks of like-minded individuals who shared a yearning for a more equitable world. Think about the personal sacrifices made by those who dared to openly challenge the status quo. Early activists faced public ridicule. Their advocacy for suffrage often met with scorn, caricature, and accusations of being unnatural or unfeminine. They risked social ostracization, facing disapproval from family, friends, and the wider community. Some lost social standing, economic opportunities, and even familial support for their unwavering commitment to the cause. Consider the physical hardships endured by those who took to the streets. Imagine the discomfort and vulnerability of early marches and protests, often conducted without permits and in the face of hostile crowds. Picture the resilience required to stand firm in their convictions, even when met with verbal abuse or physical threats. As the movement gained momentum in the early 20th century, some activists engaged in more radical forms of protests, leading to arrests and imprisonment. Imagine the courage it took to endure harsh prison conditions, hunger strikes, and forced feedings, all in the name of a fundamental human right. But even in these moments of adversity, the spirit of resilience shone brightly. Activists found strength in their shared purpose. In the growing numbers of women who joined their ranks, they developed ingenious ways to communicate their message, using banners, leaflets, and public speaking engagements to reach wider audiences. They organized petition drives, collecting signatures to demonstrate the widespread desire for suffrage. Each small act of defiance, each quiet conversation, each public demonstration was a testament to their unyielding determination, slow but steady chipping away at the wall of inequality. This was not a sudden revolution, but a gradual awakening, fueled by the unwavering belief that their voices deserved to be heard, that their participation in shaping society was not a privilege to be granted, but a fundamental right to be claimed. The journey was long and arduous, marked by setbacks and disappointments. But the unbreakable will for equality sustained them, each act of resilience a step closer to the ultimate triumph. From the collective spirit of countless individuals engaged in quiet acts of resistance, we now focus our attention on a singular figure whose unwavering dedication became synonymous with the women. Suffrage movement, Susan B. Anthony. Her life was a powerful testament to the transformative impact of unwavering commitment, a relentless march for justice that spanned decades and weathered immense opposition. To understand the depth of the suffrage movement, we must understand the profound, relentless effort of figures like Anthony, whose personal journey became interwoven with the destiny of a nation. Born in 1820 into a Quaker family known for its activism, Susan B. Anthony was instilled early on with principles of equality and social justice. Her initial work focused on the temperance and abolitionist movements. Imagine her speaking in public forums, advocating for the end of slavery and the dangers of alcohol consumption, experiences that honed her formidable oratorical skills and introduced her to the powerful opposition that greeted any challenge to the status quo. It was through this work that she encountered the pervasive reality of gender inequality, even in reform movements. Women were often silenced, denied the right to speak or vote within their own organizations. This realization ignited a new, fierce dedication within her, the fight for women's suffrage. Her journey as a suffrage leader was marked by monumental struggles, not least of which was the sheer physical and mental endurance required for her relentless campaigning. Imagine her traveling tirelessly across the vast expanse of the United States, often by difficult means. Bumpy carriages, uncomfortable trains, and during long, lonely journeys away from home. She would give hundreds of speeches, sometimes in grand halls, but just as often in rural schoolhouses, church basements, or even out in open fields. Picture the sheer grit required to stand before often hostile audiences, to articulate complex arguments for equality when met with derision, laughter, or outright scorn. Her voice, though sometimes described as quiet, carried the weight of profound conviction. Anthony's strategic brilliance was evident in her approach. She understood that legal and social change required not just persuasion, but direct challenge. In 1872, in a monumental act of civil disobedience, she, along with several other women, registered and voted in the presidential election in Rochester, New York. Imagine the courage it took to walk into that polling place, fully aware that she was breaking the law. But driven by a higher principle of justice, her subsequent arrest and highly publicized trial became a national platform for the suffrage cause. She was found guilty, but famously refused to pay the fine, stating, "I shall never pay $1 of your unjust penalty." This defiant act brought national attention to the hypocrisy of laws that denied women citizenship rights. Beyond public acts of defiance, Anthony was a master organizer and alliance builder. She tirelessly organized conventions, distributed countless pamphlets, and edited The Revolution, a newspaper dedicated to women's rights. She forged crucial, if sometimes uneasy, alliances with leaders from other social reform movements, understanding that the fight for universal suffrage was interconnected with the broader struggle for human rights. Her ability to articulate the fundamental injustice of denying women the vote, connecting it to principles of democracy and individual liberty, resonated with many, slowly but steadily chipping away at the walls of opposition. Her triumph was not a singular moment of victory in her lifetime. but the profound and indispensable groundwork she laid for the future. Despite not living to see the 19th Amendment passed, her unwavering commitment, her formidable organizational skills, and her strategic challenges to the status quo created a momentum that could not be stopped. Her life, dedicated almost entirely to the cause of equality, became a symbol of the unbreakable will of the suffrage movement.
Wow.
She embodied the power of singular, dedicated leadership, proving that one individual, fueled by conviction and relentless effort, can indeed alter the course of history. Her legacy reminds us that true greatness often lies in the persistent, tireless pursuit of a vision, even when the path is long and the obstacles seem insurmountable. From the unwavering personal dedication of leaders like Susan B. Anthony, we now explore the powerful and innovative strategies that transformed the women's suffrage movement from a fringe idea into a compelling national conversation. This was a battle fought not with weapons, but with words, with meticulously crafted arguments, and with the strategic deployment of communication to win over hearts and minds. It was a profound exercise in the power of persuasion, a testament to how intellectual courage and creative communication can challenge even the most deeply ingrained societal norms. At the heart of the movement's persuasive power lay the development of potent rhetoric and argumentation. Early suffragists understood that they couldn't just demand rights. They had to explain why these rights were fundamental. Imagine the painstaking effort of crafting speeches and essays that articulated the philosophical basis for women's equality. They drew upon the nation's founding principles, citing the Declaration of Independence's assertion that all men are created equal and endowed with inalienable rights. They argued that denying women the vote was a contradiction of democratic ideals, a betrayal of Republican principles. They meticulously debunked arguments against suffrage, from claims of women's supposed intellectual inferiority to the notion that politics would corrupt their gentle nature. Their arguments were often logical, often passionate, always relentless. The ingenious use of print media became a vital battlefield in this war of ideas. When mainstream newspapers often dismissed or ridiculed their cause, suffragists recognized the need to control their own narrative. Imagine the tireless work involved in establishing their own publications. Papers like The Revolution, co-edited by Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, became powerful pulpits. These publications served as critical platforms for essays, news, and calls to action, disseminating suffrage philosophy and organizing efforts across vast distances. Beyond newspapers, they produced countless pamphlets, flyers, and broadsides, simple yet effective tools to spread their message to a wider public. These materials often broke down complex arguments into digestible points, appealing to reason and emotion alike, countering negative propaganda with unwavering clarity. As the movement progressed into the early 20th century, suffragists also pioneered innovative public protest tactics that harnessed the power of visibility and symbolic action to force political attention. Imagine the sight of thousands of women, often dressed in white, marching in grand suffrage parades through city streets. These were not just demonstrations. They were meticulously organized spectacles designed to convey strength, unity, and a sense of dignified purpose. Picture the silent sentinels standing day after day outside the White House, holding banners with powerful messages, enduring all weather conditions and often the hostility of onlookers. These pickets and vigils were a powerful form of nonviolent civil disobedience, forcing those in power to confront the unwavering commitment of their constituents. These strategies represented profound breakthroughs in social activism. They demonstrated how a marginalized group could effectively use intellectual courage and creative communication to challenge deeply ingrained societal norms. By crafting compelling narratives, leveraging nascent media technologies, and inventing new forms of public demonstration, suffragists began to reshape public opinion. They transformed a radical concept into an achievable political goal, slowly but surely winning the battle for minds. This segment evokes a profound wonder at the human capacity to innovate in the realm of persuasion, to find new ways to speak truth to power, and to move an entire nation towards a more just future through the sheer force of conviction and communication. The culmination of decades of unwavering effort, strategic brilliance, and the persistent power of persuasion arrived on August 18, 1920. With the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, imagine the collective sigh of relief, the outpouring of joy, the profound sense of victory that swept across the nation as the words, "The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States, or by any state, on account of sex," became the supreme law of the land. This was not merely the granting of a privilege. It was the recognition of a fundamental right, a foundational step towards true equality, and the resounding echo of countless voices finally being heard. However, the passage of the 19th Amendment was not the end of the journey, but rather a momentous catalyst for further social and political change for women in America and around the globe. Reflect on the immediate impact. For the first time in history, millions of women were empowered to participate directly in the democratic process. They could now vote in local, state, and federal elections, their voices finally carrying the weight of civic participation. This newfound political power, though initially met with challenges and often resisted in practice, opened doors to increased participation in public life. Women began to run for and hold elected office in greater numbers, their perspectives and experiences slowly starting to shape policy and governance. The victory of the suffrage movement also fueled progress in other areas of women's lives. It lent momentum to efforts to improve women's access to education, professional careers, and legal rights. The same spirit of determination and collective action that had secured the vote now turned its attention to dismantling other forms of gender inequality. Imagine the burgeoning opportunities that began to unfold, albeit gradually, as societal barriers started to weaken. Women entered fields previously dominated by men, contributing their talents and skills to the workforce and enriching society in countless ways. Consider the countless individuals, both celebrated leaders and unsung heroines, who contributed to this century-long struggle. From the early pioneers who first dared to voice the demand for suffrage, to the later generations who marched, protested, and lobbied tirelessly, their collective courage and perseverance paved the way for this transformative change. Our strategies of peaceful activism, their commitment to nonviolent civil disobedience, and their unwavering belief in justice served as an inspiration for subsequent civil rights movements around the world. Think about the echoes of the suffrage movement in the fight for racial equality, for disability, rights for LGBTQ+ rights. The lessons learned, the tactics employed, the enduring power of collective action, demanding fundamental human dignity and equal opportunity. The 19th Amendment represented far more than just a change in voting laws. It signaled a profound shift in the societal perception of women's roles and capabilities. It challenged the deeply ingrained notion that women's place was solely in the private sphere, recognizing their equal stake in shaping the public realm. Imagine the gradual transformation of attitudes, the slow but steady acceptance of women as full and equal citizens, capable of contributing to every aspect of society. While the journey towards complete gender equality is far from over, the victory of the suffrage movement stands as a monumental milestone, a powerful reminder of the transformative potential of persistent advocacy and the enduring strength of the human will to achieve a more just and equitable world. The echo of those hard-won votes continues to resonate today, inspiring us to remain vigilant in the defense of fundamental rights and to continue the work of ensuring that every voice, without exception, has the power to shape our shared future. That brings us to the end of another journey through the annals of inspirational history. We hope this story of triumph, resilience, and the enduring human spirit has left you feeling empowered and reflective. If you were moved by this tale, please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more journeys into the past, and comment below with your thoughts or any historical moments that inspire you. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful stories of human triumph.